Welcome to another night in the NBA. This is your 10-minute recap of the last night of NBA hoops, a night where we had, I believe, 8 games on the schedule, but I want to talk about the earliest game, the one that started right at the beginning of the day, which was Mavs versus Sixers. If you've been on YouTube at all over the past few weeks, everyone has been aggressively hyping up the Dallas Mavericks, because through the trade deadline, they had a 7-game win streak, which ironically started against the 76ers, and it looked really good. It looked like all of a sudden they made these moves and they were figuring it out. They had Luka and Kyrie at the top, and the Mavs were this great team. But since that 7-game win streak, the Dallas Mavericks have won 1 out of their last 5 games, including losses to the Pacers, the Cavs, the Celtics, which is the most acceptable one, and then last night, it was kind of during the day, but yesterday to the Philadelphia 76ers with no Joel Embiid, who's been out for a while, and the Sixers have struggled. So the Mavs lost to a Sixers team led by Tyrese Maxey, Tobias Harris, and Buddy Hield. It's just not an acceptable loss, and it seems like the Mavs aren't quite as good as people tried to say they were, because you take out this 7-game win streak, and for the rest of the season, the Mavs are just 27-27. They're mediocre. They're fine. They're not a bad team, but propping them up as contenders feels a little generous considering how they've looked for the season as a whole, because it just hasn't been as good as people try to say. But Luka Doncic in these games is still playing well. 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists yesterday in the loss to Philly, and it's kind of becoming a thing online where people are calling him despite the loss man, because he puts up these great stats, but you always have to put a prerequisite that it was despite the loss, because they lose, but Luka Doncic was great, and it happens a lot. It happens a lot more than it should, and it's just not good enough. The Mavs aren't getting it done. Kyrie had 28 yesterday, so you'd think, wow, their two guys were so good, but it's still just not what you want it to be. And if you're a Mavs fan, I think the most frustrating part would be the center rotation that Jason Kidd is currently employing, because Maxi Kleber leads the centers in minutes again, 25 minutes, and has 2 points on 0% shooting. Yes, Maxi Kleber was the big man often when they made that run to the conference finals, but they specifically traded for Daniel Gafford so they could essentially have a rim-running lob threat rim protector all 48 minutes of the game. That was the idea that was pitched, because they have rookie Derek Lively, who's been very good, and Daniel Gafford, who really showed out in his first couple games of the Mavs. It seemed like they would just run one or the other pretty much all game long, and that's just not the case. They got 18 minutes tonight from Derek Lively and 13 from Daniel Gafford. They didn't even play a combined 48 minutes, let alone 48 minutes between the two of them, and just always having them on the floor, which might go over 48 minutes. Maybe you play them together a little bit. I don't know if that would work, but they definitely did not get the full time you might expect. They did play a combined 31 minutes, which is about 2/3 of what you're looking for. It's just not exactly what you want out of this center rotation that you traded for. And if you're going to keep losing games to a team like the Sixers without Embiid, or even the Pacers, who've been really up and down as of late, Tyrese Halliburton specifically has really struggled. If you're losing games like that, it's just not a good recipe for winning this season, and they're just not as good as they were and people thought they were, which leads to the point of the title of this video, that the Mavs were frauds. They weren't as good as people said. They're not as good as people thought. Luka Doncic is a fantastic player, is one of the top 5 players in the league. Can you win with him as your best player is still to be seen. They've been decent in the regular season, but again, without that win streak, they are 500. So let me know your thoughts on the Mavs, because I know people were aggressively overrating them, and maybe now I'm being too harsh, but either way, I think there was a lot too much hype after the trade deadline. But now let's get to some other action from around the NBA. So, in other action around the NBA, we did have 7 other games on the day, and let's start off with the next game that happened, and that was a matchup between 2 of the best teams in the Western Conference. The Clippers heading to Minnesota to face the Timberwolves, the 1 seed versus the 3 seed heading into the game, and it was ugly, and neither team scored 90 points. Clippers win 89-88. They shoot just 37% from the field, and the Timberwolves shoot 38%. It just was an ugly game all around. Not the offensive showdown you'd expect. This looked like a game from the 90s. 32 from Kawhi for the Clippers in the win, and the Timberwolves do get 27 from Anthony Edwards, but do fall short. The Celtics continue to prove they're the best team in the NBA, blowing out the Warriors by 52, and I believe they were up 50 at the half. It was just an absolute domination by the Celtics over a Warriors team that had looked pretty good as of late, and a real statement win for Boston. They're the first team to have 3 50-point wins in a season, and the Warriors just couldn't get anything going. They didn't even play their starters to start the second half. It was a full, give in, give up type situation for Steve Kerr and the Warriors, and just an awful loss for them. The Toronto Raptors win their first game without Scotty Barnes, who will miss some time with a hand injury. RJ Barrett 23-8, 22 for Emmanuel Quickley, 13 from Ochai Agbaji. Overall, they do get 7 guys in double figures, and they beat the Hornets 111-106, 26 for Brandon Miller, and 18, 13, and 5 for Grant Williams. But the Raptors come out on top at home. The Orlando Magic beat the Detroit Pistons 113-91 thanks to a late third quarter, but fourth quarter surge that pulled away, because this was close through the first 3-ish quarters, but Paolo Banchero 29, 8, and 5 has been fantastic lately, and he is a star, and they take down Detroit, who is led in scoring by Evan Fournier with 17. The Spurs take down the Pacers, get their second straight win after beating the Thunder the other night. They now take down the Pacers as well. 31-12, 6 assists and 6 blocks for Victor Wembanyama, shoots 65% from the field. Malachi Branham finally has a good game in his second season, 18 points and 6 assists on over 50% shooting. He was kind of projected to be this really good scoring guard, but hasn't been as good in his sophomore season as he was his rookie year. Like I said earlier, Tyrese Halliburton has just been awful. 12 points, 8 assists, but 25% from the field. Just has not looked like the same guy as of late, and Indy is going to need him to turn it around. In the second to last game of the day, we had Knicks versus Cavs. It was announced before the game that Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert would miss the game with injuries/illnesses, but then Jalen Brunson gets hurt in the first minute of the game, goes down with a leg-knee injury, and doesn't come back. 0 official minutes, was out there for about 20 seconds, so it seemed like then the Cavs would logically win. They have Darius Garland, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley, but despite that, the Knicks pull it off thanks to 28 points and 6 made threes from Dante DiVincenzo. They do get 13 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists from Josh Hart. What a ridiculous triple-double from Josh Hart. Only shoots 42%, but who cares, because he was doing everything. And the Knicks get a win in Cleveland that you might not have expected. Then in the final game of the night, the Suns without Devin Booker are at home hosting the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Thunder take it 118-110 behind 35 points from SGA, 22 from J-Dub. The Suns do get 31 from Bradley Beal, but Kevin Durant, not a good return against the Thunder, the team he really started his career with. 20 points on 40% shooting, but that was the action around the NBA tonight, and now let's just move on to the next segment. This is the Moneyline Hotline, the place that keeps your bets from going cold. Looking at the recent success of the model, we have hit every single best bet of the day since we started doing it here on the channel. We are 5 for 5, starting with the Mavs beating the Raptors, the Nuggets beating the Heat in a finals rematch, the Bucks beating the Bulls, Nuggets taking down the Lakers, and then the Thunder beating the Suns last night. And today, March 4th, the best bet of the day would be Thunder minus 102 versus Lakers. Turn your 118.46 226 into 234. So starting with $10, after just 5 days, you'd already be up around 120. And today on the 6th day, you could get up to 234. If Giannis Antetokounmpo is out versus the Clippers, take the Clippers line if it's within minus 200 because it's great value. That is the only other option to flip and take the best bet of the day. But to me right now, it's Thunder versus the Lakers. And now let's get into the predictions for the day as a whole. So we get into the model predictions for today, March 4th. The best bet is Thunder plus 3.5 according to the model over the Lakers. So they are classified as a standard bet. But if LeBron is out, it goes to a super favorite, which is huge because you would get great value if that is the case because you can get in now. Thunder minus 102, turn your $10 into $19.80. And LeBron just scored 40,000 the other night, could easily sit out, take a rest day after. Even if he doesn't, I would still take the Thunder to win. They, I believe, are 2-1 versus the Lakers this season, something like that. But the Thunder, better team, despite coming off the back-to-back, I think the Thunder would be predicted to win. The underdogs is the Thunder minus 102 versus the Lakers. The Lakers are like minus 112, something like that, somewhere around there. It is a very close game according to Vegas, but take the Thunder. The other underdog for the day is Clippers plus 0.02, very much classified as a flip game according to the model, but those are hitting around 65%, so not a bad look. Clippers over Bucks, and it goes to plus 5.6, classified as a clear favorite if Giannis is out with an injury. Right now, you can get it at Clippers plus 168, where you turn your $10 to $26.80. Really good value, especially if Giannis is out. If Giannis is cleared, you could cash out before the game, up to you, but the Clippers projected to win. And then for the parlay of the day, we're going with 4 out of the 6 games. Take the Clippers game out of it, and the Timberwolves are very, very heavy favorites against the Blazers. Not really worth putting in. Nets to beat the Grizzlies in Brooklyn. Kings to beat the Bulls in Sacramento. Jazz over the Wizards in Utah. And then the Thunder to win is plus 379. Turn your $10 to almost 50. The big thing with that bet is going to be the Jazz, who don't have Lauri Markkanen or Walker Kessler, but they are playing the Wizards. But those are the predictions for the day. And as I'm always going to tell you to do, follow the Twitter, follow the X, whatever you want to call it, at the Moneyline Hotline. The username is at the money_line. You can follow it on Twitter for the picks as soon as they are available. But now let's get into the top 5 players of the day according to me. So Victor Wembanyama comes in at number 1 with 31 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists, and 6 blocks. A 4x5 for Victor Wembanyama, shoots over 60% from the field as well. Luka Doncic, despite the loss, comes in at number 2, 38 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. Another huge triple-double for Luka. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at number 3 in their win over Phoenix, 35 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 6 stocks. 3 blocks, 3 steals apiece, 6 stocks. Dante DiVincenzo comes in at number 4 for his heroics in the Knicks' surprising win over Cleveland. 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 made threes. Could have easily been Josh Hart as well for his crazy triple-double. But rounding out the top 5 to me is Jaylen Brown. Got to get a Celtic in there with their 52-point win. 29 points in just 22 minutes on 73% true shooting. Really impressive night for JB and for Boston. And then in the top play of the night, we have this one. It is a poster slam from Blake Wesley over Benedict Mathurin. And then usually now we would get into the viewer submitted questions, but at time of recording we don't have any, so we won't do that segment today. Rather, just thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the daily recaps because I love making them and hopefully you love watching them as well. Super fun for me to do, so let me know your thoughts on the format and drop your viewer submitted questions. There will be a community post tonight after the games, or you can drop them in the comment sections of this video for a chance to be featured in the next one. But thanks for watching. Think about subscribing. I'm on the road to 13,000 subscribers, so if you enjoy the content, drop a sub, like, you know, just do anything you want to do. But thanks for watching. That's going to be it for me. Have a good one, guys. Peace.